Good evening. I'm Bruce Folk, Chairman of the Kids in Hope Foundation, and I would like to welcome you to our special evening event. Thanks so much for supporting the Kids in Hope Foundation, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and Salus University's Looking Out for Kids. I also would like to thank our sponsors for tonight, American Heritage Credit Union and Giant Food Stores. Tonight we have a special guest who has had a pretty incredible life. He spent 11 years with our Philadelphia Eagles and earned a Super Bowl ring. However, in addition to a 14-year-old NFL career, he has been honing his skills as a world-class magician since the age of 12, making it all the ways to being a contestant on America's Got Talent. After his performance tonight, he will be answering questions in a Q&A, so please type your questions in the chat box during the show. Without further ado, please welcome to our Kids in Hope virtual stage, Mr. Jon Dorenbos.
I was so blown away by our next guest the last time he was here that I got him back here as soon as I could possibly get him back here. From the Philadelphia Eagles, please welcome magician Jon Dorenbos.
We ready? Yeah. Let's rock this out. You talk the talk, you walk the walk.
It's always fun. I love you.
And I can't actually believe you did what you just did. That is great.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You know it's going to be a good night when you rock off with Metallica, baby. What's going on? Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As you all know, you are here for one reason, and that is to support the Kids in Hope Foundation, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and Salus University's Looking Out for Kids program. We all appreciate you. We thank you. So let's get this night started. Hey, my name is Jon. Oh my gosh. Really bad timing. Sorry about that. Excuse me. Excuse me. My name is Jon. Wow. It's like a little flutter in my throat. Did you guys hear that? It's like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Excuse me. I feel so much better. Now I feel like we can get this thing started. Now, I don't want to take away the current status of the world, hardships that people have had, but here's the reality. I've tried to take this time and I've tried to solve a problem for myself, right? Trying to find the silver lining in this in the quarantine and having to stay at home. And you know what? I solved a problem. Now, all of you might not have the problems I have, but here's a problem I have. And you know what? For a magician, if there's any magicians out there, this is serious. Here's what happened, right? Back in the old days when we go to parties and stuff and get-togethers, sure enough, I'd go to a party and I'd walk in and be like, yeah, hey, what's going on? All right, yeah, thanks for having me. Hey, okay, let's do this. And a buddy of mine would come up and say, hey, Jon, would you mind showing our friends a card trick? Sure, yeah, no problem. So sure enough, they would bring me a deck of cards. I'd grab it and be like, cool, where are we going? Walk right over here, Jon. All right, so we walk over there and I'm like this, hey, all right, yeah. Sure enough, I approach the situation. And I want everybody to know right now, as I approach, a lot of times I come upon what I call that guy. Now, if you're thinking to yourself right now, gosh, of all the people I know, I don't really know who that guy is. Maybe you're that guy. Not important, doesn't matter. I approach and I go, hey, what's going on? My name's Jon, and so-and-so Bob here said he'd like to, for me to show you a card trick. Do you want to see one? This is what I get. Are you ready? Oh, I can't wait, dude. This is going to be awesome. Hey, let me guess, bro. I'm going to pick a card. You're going to put it in the deck and, find it. I've seen it, dude. I've seen it, bro. I've seen it. Okay. Sure. Thank you. I'm sure you have. So what do? I go into my pocket and I go, whoosh, and I whip out another deck of cards. And I go, okay, you've seen a trick with one deck of cards. But have you seen a trick with two decks of cards? Yes, when a magician takes two decks of cards and does the trick simultaneously using two decks at once. Yes, two decks at once. Same guy. Hey, Freddie, get over here, bro. You're going to laugh at this one. Are you kidding me? This guy's pathetic. Hey, this guy spent this is cute, man. You spent your whole life doing this? Hey, congrats, bro. Job well done. Hey, let me guess, dude. I'm going to pick a red card, and then, let me guess. You're going to find it in the blue deck. I've seen it, dude. I've seen it. Look, if you want respect in this playground, you're going to have to bring a lot more than that. Okay. Yeah, I totally get it. You've seen a trick with one deck. You've seen a trick with 2 decks. But by any chance, have you seen a trick with, have you seen a trick with 3 decks of cards done at one time? Yes, 3 decks at once? Oh, you have? Okay, well, what about a trick with, what about a trick with 4 decks of cards at one time? Have you seen that? Yeah, I don't think so, pal. So here we go. Here's what I'm gonna do. I don't wanna do a trick with 4 decks. I don't even wanna do a trick with 3. I don't wanna do a trick with 2. In fact, I don't even wanna do a trick with 1 deck of cards. Instead, we're gonna get this party started. All I wanna do is a trick using one card only. This one right here, it is okay, cool. We're gonna use a joker. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, watch this. If that doesn't show you that I've had too much time on my hands, I don't know what does. You know what, I feel kind of bad. I didn't introduce myself. What's up, everybody? My name's Jon Dorenbos. Some of you might be looking at the screen right now saying, wait a minute, is that the guy that played 14 years in the NFL? Ah, wait a minute. That's the magician from America's Got Talent and Ellen. And let's face it, there's a chance you're looking at the screen right now going, I got no idea who you are, pal, nor do I really care. Let's just keep this puppy moving. That's all good. So I was super fortunate to play 14 years in the NFL, and I was a long snapper. And it's okay, a lot of people don't know what a long snapper is. Don't worry, I'm gonna tell you. I was that guy right there. And it was my job to snap a ball and hit this guy in the kicking leg right there. If you do that right, this is what it looks like. I look between my legs, I snap it, he catches it, all's good, we live to live another day, right? Now a lot of people are going, well, that looks easy, right? Well, hold on. There's what's called the X factor, and that's this right here. See, I would go against this guy right here, and it was his job to try and run me over as soon as I moved. And this is what that would look like. See, that's him, and that's me. And as soon as I snap it, he tries to run me over. And I fend him off like a beast. Now look, of course I'm going to show you a clip where I dominate an individual that was bigger, faster, and stronger than me. It's my presentation. What do you expect? But let's face it, that's not how life always is, right? So now I'm going to show you a clip right here. You ready for this? You're going to notice there's a gentleman across from me in a black jersey and a gold helmet. Every once in a while, this happens right here. I snap it and get completely destroyed. Now look, when that happened, that wasn't funny. I can laugh about it now, but in the moment, that was not funny. You're gonna love this. So one day after my show, my wife comes up to me and she says, hey honey, I think you should play that clip in slow motion. And so naturally I said, you mean the one where I take on the guy that's bigger, faster, and stronger than me and just go, and just dominate him? That one? And she looks at me and she says, oh, no. The one where you get trucked. I said, why would I wanna show that clip to people in slow motion? And then here it is. Just reminded me of one more reason why I just love my wife so much. She looked at me and she said, honey, I have never seen such raw athleticism as I do right here, right now. I mean, think about it, babe. You get 2 full strides in midair. 1, 2, before you hit the ground. I said, well, hey, honey, let me tell you something. If you think that there's an athlete, I'm your guy. Now that's a moment I think every one of us can relate to, right? I mean, think about it. The moment where we just get trucked, the moment in life that we all get ran over, that's something every one of us can relate to. No matter our religion, our race, our language, it doesn't matter. The moment where we're like, wow, I had a great plan and life just came and right there, right? I believe this. All we gotta do is quiet the voice of self-doubt. Quiet the voice of people that are saying we either can't do something or we're not good enough. And sure enough, I believe we can take everything around us and we can rise and we can be better than the situation. And in fact, when we do that, I personally think that we can come back better, we can come back stronger, we can come back in a better situation than we were ever in to begin with. And that's exactly what we'll do. Come back better, stronger, and in a better situation than what we were in to begin with. You know, a lot of people ask me how I got into football. And that's a good story right there. I was in high school and a buddy of mine comes up to me. He says, John, you should play football. You're a pretty big kid. So I was like, dude, football? No way, dude. Football's for dorks. I like magic. Just let that one sink in there for a second. So sure enough, he looked at me and he goes, yeah, but you can hit that guy and not get in trouble. So that actually seems like... Now look, I thought I was the greatest high school player ever. Not one college thought that. No scholarships out of high school. So I go to Golden West Junior College. And this is where I had just that moment in life that I needed. I was 19 years old and I met a guy named Coach Haye. Now here's the deal. The school was 0-30, which means they'd lost 30 games in a row. I went there. Naturally, we lost another 10. 0-40, I'm now a part of the longest college losing streak in history. No big deal, but a record nonetheless, right? Here we go. Anyways, halfway through the season, Coach Haye called up the team. And I'll never forget this. He says, hey, I got a question. Does anybody know why we got the names on the back of our jersey? So sure enough, you know me, I raised my hand. Yeah, Coach, I got this, dude. Hey, right here, Coach. It's very simple. A lot of people out here, you don't know who's who. So what do? You got your clipboard. You walk around. If you want to get my attention, you walk behind me. You glimpse my name. Maybe you write it down. You keep on walking, and then sure enough, you wait a second, and you go, hey, Dorenbos, get over here. I then think you know me. So guess what? I'm going to try harder. Boom. That's why we got the names on our jersey. I'll never forget. He looked at me and he said, that is the worst, dumbest answer I've ever heard. Dude, sit down, kid. That answer's terrible. So sure enough, I sit down. This is what he said. Blew me away. He goes, you want to know why you got the name on the jersey? I'll tell you why. Because everything that happens in the white lines of a football field is going to happen in the real world. And guess what? You got a name on your back. And that name stands for something. So what's going to happen? There might be a late hit. There might be a bad call. Either way, you're face down in the mud. And you know what? It wasn't your fault. And in that moment, you have to make a decision. Are you going to rise and live in vision? Or are you going to stay down and live in circumstance? That right there, that's the moment, right? And all of a sudden, hey, guess what? One of you might play on television. And sure enough, the camera's going to pan in on your back. And boom, they're going to see how you react in that moment. That moment's what every one of us can relate to. That's the moment that we're treading water, right? And we just feel like we just need a second to breathe. It doesn't matter your race, your religion, it doesn't matter where you're from, your job title. None of that matters because every one of us can face that moment right there with struggle. When all of a sudden, when life was in order and everything was going fine, and then bam, life just hits us right there in the gut. We can all relate to that. But the moment, don't let the moment be bigger than the situation, right? Instead, let's persevere through. Let that moment refine you, right? Gather your teammates, gather your coworkers, it doesn't matter. Get in a huddle, and come up with a better plan, a better strategy, and put yourself in a better situation to be successful. And not let the past dictate who you are in the future. Now you do that. He said, you do that, Dorenbos, and guess what? You will be a teammate that this team would hate to lose, and you will be a teammate that every opponent or every competitor fears. If you do that, you're gonna win in this life more than you're gonna lose. That completely blew me away. That was a message I needed to hear in the moment. Why? Because what he said is that life happens, right? And we make a decision. Do we live in vision? Do we live in circumstance? But regardless, life happens to every single one of us, right? It's the moment we least expect, but I get it now. Now I don't feel like a victim. Now I don't feel like life's ganging up on me. Instead, I think every one of us are in that. What separates us? You wanna know what separates us? Is the decision we make in that moment right there. Do we rise and live in vision? Or do we stay down and live in circumstance? It's up to every one of us to dictate and to decide what our last name is going to mean to this world, what our last name is going to mean to the team that we're on. May we all be a teammate that our teams would hate to lose and every competitor fears. So what does that mean? It means we have a higher standard for ourselves than anybody will ever have for us. If we can look in the mirror every single day and decide right here, change the narrative of what's going on and find motivation in defeat, there it is right there. Find motivation in defeat, then guess what? We can rally and make big things happen. Now, well, I opened the show, right? I shot a joker out and I rolled a card, right? I just rolled a card, right? You remember that? A lot of you might be thinking that was just a gratuitous trick so that, I make you think I'm cool, but there's a point. See, in that situation where we're all face down, we either rise and live in vision or we stay down and live in circumstance, and we make a decision that we will find motivation in defeat, that right there is how you make big things happen. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to do a trick. This is going to be beautiful, and I actually need a card here. Check this out. All right, I actually need a card. I need the Ace of Hearts. Check this out. Who knew? Here we go. All right, here's what it is, right? Life is going to come after us, one thing after another, after another, after another. It's the mindset, it's the language we tell ourselves, it's the narrative we tell ourselves to get us through all these situations. And when we do that, when we have a name on our back we're proud of, we act like royalty, baby. Boom, just like that. May every one of us make the decision to live in vision, not circumstance. And when we do that, I truly believe that that's when the world comes full circle and we make big things happen, baby. That big right there. Here we go. Yes, that is so sick. I love this because big, big things are possible anytime, any place when the right group of people come together, which is what this is all about. I got some great news. This year, the Kids in Hope Foundation donated their $2 millionth to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And in 2021, they're going to be celebrating their 25th anniversary. Difference. I love this here. Now look, it might be kind of hard to see, but we have a hole in this paper, and there's actually a hologram in there. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. Well, it is what it is, but check this out. All it takes is all of us to continue to support this great cause, and may all of us continue to make something out of nothing. Here we go. Thank you for the support. Thank you for making a difference in all of these kids' lives. You gotta love this right here. May every one of us continue to give. I love you all. Now, well, there's still that hole in that hologram, but you know what? Anything is possible. Just like that, that peels off, and we are left, ladies and gentlemen, with a $20 bill. Now, I get asked all the time, John, how'd you get into magic? This is my mom's dream home. We lived in Woodinville, Washington. And my dad, man, my dad was my hero. If you asked me who I wanted to be like, it was just like him. And I just wanted to make him proud. So what happens is we live in Seattle, so I'm a huge Seattle Mariners fan. I looked up to guys like Ken Griffey Jr., Jay Buhner, Edgar Martinez. These guys were studs, right? So every day my dad came home from work, even if it was dark, we'd pull the car, turn the headlights on, and we'd play catch almost every single night. He was the president of Little League. He coached all my teams. And you know what? At this time I was 12 years old, which means I felt like I was kind of becoming a man, right? My dad's taking me around, teaching me how to change the oil, taking me to work. I just felt like I'm able and I'm old enough and cool enough to hang out with my dad. Now my mom was my hero for a whole different reason. She volunteered in the library at my elementary school. And now look, I'm not gonna say I had a reading disability, but reading comprehension for me is really, really hard. School for me was really, really hard. So what happens? My mom starts a reading program for kids like me to make reading more visual, to make learning more visual. Sure enough, what happens? The cool kids like my mom, right? And so what do? They end up liking me. On August 2nd, 1992, I was across the street playing with some friends. I was 12 years old. And when I returned home, I learned that my father had murdered my mother. And in that moment, I didn't just lose my mom. I lost my mom and my dad. So my dad ended up turning himself in. He was tried for second-degree murder, convicted and sentenced to 13 years. My brother was going away to college, so he kind of went away. And then my sister and I got placed in temporary foster care for about 8 months, and it allowed us to kind of finish the school year out. During those 8 months, my sister and I was in the most intense therapy you could possibly imagine. And our therapist, his only goal was for my sister and I to find happiness, to have closure, to come to terms with our reality, and find forgiveness. So now what happens is we go through 8 months, we go through the most intense therapy you could possibly imagine, trying to come to terms with what our reality is. My mom's sister, my Aunt Susan, she got custody of my sister and I. So 8 months had passed, we finished the school year, we finished the therapy, and my sister and I moved down to Southern California, and we moved in with my aunt. So what happens is when we're packing up, we realized that my mom had a jewelry box, and inside of there were 3 necklaces. One for me, my sister, and my brother. And she was gonna give it to us when we all had turned 18. But obviously she passed and she didn't have that opportunity to give it to my sister and I. So what happens is we get those necklaces. I wore that thing everywhere. So I'll never forget, this is the moment where I finally really had this aha moment of how changing the narrative and changing the story to what happens to us, man, it can change everything. So I'm 14 years old, I moved down to Southern California and I go to Huntington Beach, right? Jump in the ocean, I'm swimming around, I'm having a good time. So what happens is when I come out of the ocean, my necklace is gone. I was absolutely devastated. I went back any chance I could, and I'd go around in the sand, I'd go in the ocean, and I was literally just completely freaking out that I had lost the one thing that I held dear to me. That was the one thing that I felt connected to my mom with, and now it had fallen off. So sure enough, I'm sitting on the beach and I'm looking around, and nobody cares, right? Nobody cares about what my problems were. Somebody's walking a dog, playing volleyball, you know, just everybody's in their own little world. And then I kind of like looked out in the ocean and I go, oh my gosh, I get it. I totally get it now. Here it is. I changed the narrative to what happened to me, to find motivation in defeat, to come to terms with my reality was, but guess what? Give it a purpose and a meaning. It wasn't for nothing. See, when I think of this necklace now, it was never meant to be mine. It was never meant for me to have. Instead, my job was to take it from Seattle and bring it down to my mom's hometown of Long Beach and Huntington Beach in Orange County, California, and just deliver it to the ocean. My mom wanted to travel the world. Well, guess what? She didn't have an opportunity. So when I lost it in the ocean, the story I told myself is, a dolphin picked it up, and it hooked onto the fin of a dolphin. And what happened is that dolphin swam, and guess what? Passed it off to a whale. And the whale took that necklace to Hawaii. Then a sea turtle saw it and grabbed it. And guess what? Took it to Australia. And then it went to Thailand, and it just went all over the world. And so now, losing that necklace, it was no longer a negative thing in my life. Instead, it became a positive because now I know my mom's seen the world. And guess what? I don't need to go to a cemetery anymore. I can just go to the ocean. And anywhere in the world, if I see the ocean, there it is. There's my mom. She's been there, she's done that. And that's now how I'm connected to my mom. The words we tell ourselves make a difference. Finding motivation in defeat, changing the narrative, right? Finding the romantic side of life, never letting go of hope. All of that helped me come to terms with my reality. Having resilience, like I said before, resilience is a mindset. It's a mindset that no matter what happens, we will keep standing up. Now, the reality is this, right? It's not all gravy. It's not. Sometimes we have these moments. I truly believe in this. Feel it, grieve it, process it. You want to laugh, laugh. You want to cry, cry. I'm all for it. But guess what? It's this right here. It's how long do we stay? It's what Coach Haye was talking about. Are we going to live in vision, or are we going to come out and live in circumstance? How quick can we get back out of it to find happiness? Right there. That right there, that's the key right there. So my sister and I, like I said, we moved down to Southern California, and we moved in with my Aunt Susan. So this is her right here. That's me. That's my aunt in the middle, and then that's my sister. And then this is where I took magic to a whole different level. I turn on the TV, I'm like 14, 15 years old, and I see the world's greatest magic, and there's a guy named Bill Malone just shuffling cards. Just, oh man, taking cards face up, face down, putting cards in order. He just did the coolest things in the world. Now at this time, I'd kind of dabbled in magic, but seeing Bill Malone, it took me to the next level. After seeing him, I would go home, I would light a candle. I would turn on Yanni, track number 9, Felista, and put that bad boy on repeat. I'd sit at a table and shuffle. Yeah, you heard me say it. It was Yanni, track number 9. Now look, here's the deal. When I moved in with my aunt, we didn't have a whole lot of CDs and stuff, right? So what did I do? I had two options, right? It was either Yanni or John Cicada. Oh, come on, Yanni. When he hits that piano. Give me that violin. Look, I can put that on repeat and listen to that all night. John Cicada? Come on, I don't know about you, but I can't do this all night.
It's just another day without you.
I mean, come on, hit that high note.
It's just another day.
That's terrible. I can't do that. So what would I do? I would listen to Yanni, track number 9, Felista. What magic taught me is that I can put my life in order. See, the tricks that I would learn along the way, it's kind of where I was in life. And so sure enough, seeing Bill Malone, it just inspired me to be so great. So here's the perfect balance, right? I would play football during the day and I'd be able to hit you and not get in trouble. Then I'd go home at night, light the candle, turn on the music, and I would shuffle cards, and that's where the world would make sense. It's where everything just disappeared. Moving, losing both my parents, my dad in prison, my mom being killed, my sister and I going down there, losing the necklace, the world quieted. And what I learned in that moment is this right here, right? There's times in our life that things just change. The things that we don't see, the things that we don't anticipate, the things that nobody saw coming. But we will live in vision. We will not live in circumstance. We will change the narrative to find motivation in defeat, and no matter what the situation is, because that is who we are, that is what we do. Because Coach Haye said, I got a name on my back that means something. Every one of you out there have a name that means something. We're gonna have a higher standard for ourselves than anybody else has for us. And me shuffling the cards, that's where I found peace. That's where the world made sense. And I realized in that moment that you know what this is about? That when life's kicking us, don't listen to yourself, talk to yourself. Don't listen to the voice that's telling you to quit. Don't listen to the voice that's telling you you ain't good enough. Instead, tell yourself where you want to go. Tell yourself positive things. Tell yourself positive stories. Tell yourself that you will find motivation in defeat, and I truly believe that'll be. See, when I was learning cards and I saw Bill Malone, I was fascinated with this idea of shuffling, of being able to take cards that were out of order and putting them back in order, taking cards that were face up, face down, and somehow finding order within chaos, because that's what I was trying to do in my life. So sure enough, I love this trick. I dedicate this to my guy, Bill Malone, and I hope you like it too. So as you can see, I got 2 piles of cards, and in this one, I got all the spades. And just like we had just talked about, the spades are out of order. And so what do? This is the situation that we're talking about. What do you got to do to put yourself back in order? I believe it's the words that I tell myself. I believe that if I can have intentional living, if I can have purpose, if I can convince myself of all the positive things in this world, then that's all I'm going to see, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And to me, that's how I put myself back in order. Just like this. Ace. Don't do it. Stop it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, and King. The words we tell ourselves make a difference. Don't listen to yourself, talk to yourself. And this is the world, right? This is life. This right here is what separates us. When life's coming at us, when life all of a sudden, when we have a plan and life says otherwise and it shuffles up everything we got around us. And all of a sudden, tragedy, chaos, it strikes us when we least expect it. Change. Do we embrace it? Or do we live in circumstance? I say live in vision. And just slow yourself. Look in the mirror. Talk to yourself. And realize this isn't happening to me. This is happening for me. And the next thing you know, we can put the whole world back in order. Just like this. I believe it. Be the difference. Be the difference for yourself. Be the difference for your family. Be the difference for the world. And let's put it all back in order. I love that right there, right? Just to be able to put ourselves back in order. And I do it by the language I tell myself. In every scenario that I'm in, I tell myself, this isn't happening to me. This is happening for me. Now, what does that do? It doesn't mean I agree with the situation. It doesn't mean I want that situation to happen. But I know this, that when I tell myself this isn't happening to me, this is happening for me, it triggers this right here in my mind to not be a victim. It triggers my mind to say I will live in vision, not in circumstance. And now that I look back on my life, I notice that there's things that have happened in my life that have helped keep me on that path, that have helped keep me and keep my life in order. So here's the deal. This is a picture of my mom. This is actually her in the library. And then this is a picture of me in the tunnel of the Eagles. I signed in 2006. In my first game, I was walking out to pregame, and a reporter stopped me. Now, usually reporters talk to you after the game, but for whatever reason, Joe Santoliquito was in the tunnel as I was walking out, and I am sure thankful he was. He stopped me. He said, "John, can I ask you a question?" I said, "Look, man, make it quick. You know, I got a game to get to. What do you got?" He says, "I'm looking at some notes here. You were a pretty good high school player, right?" So, you know, I bowed my chest. I was like, yeah, I was pretty good. You know, led the league in tackles, no big deal. Yeah, I see that. But you didn't make all league, huh? Didn't make the all-star team, high school? No? Yeah, no, Joe. And then he said, "Oh, and you're not in your high school Hall of Fame still to this day?" No, man. It's actually a kind of a sore subject. Thanks for bringing that up here. I appreciate it. But wait up. And then you wanted to go to college, right? You wanted to be a big-time college football player. So it actually, you didn't get any college scholarship, did you? You actually went to Golden West Junior College. They were the worst junior college in America. Is that what you did? Yeah, Joe. I no scholarship at a high school, and I went to the longest losing streak in college football history. I figured, hey, if I can't play there, hang it up, right? Here we go. He says, and then you didn't get a scholarship, so what did you do? You made a highlight tape of you and 2 other players, and you said that all 3 of them were you, and you actually got a scholarship as a long snapper, but the snapper you put on the film was a guy named Tim Thurman. Is that true? Look, that's a whole different story. Doesn't matter. It worked. I'm not condoning it. It's my story. It is what it is. And I said, yeah, that's true. Okay, so you go to college. You get picked up by the Bills. They fire you. You then go to the Tennessee Titans, and you play, and then they fire you. They bring you back, and then they fire you again. You were fired by the same team twice within a year. That's pretty impressive. I go, look, Joe, you got a point to this? You know, I got a game to get to. What are you trying to get here? And then he hit me with this. He said, you know, I read an article that your mom's best friend, Leslie Moore, sang the song Wind Beneath My Wings at her funeral. And that's the moment I just went, whoa. I didn't really expect you to come in like that. I said, yeah, she actually sang behind a pipe and drape because she didn't think she'd be able to sing, seeing all her friends. And I remember that. All right, Joe, thanks, buddy. He goes, no, you don't get it. I go, no, I get it. You know, Bette Midler, you know, 80s, 90s, beaches. It's you know, Wind Beneath My, great song. Yeah, I totally get it, man, thanks. He says, hold on, kid. I know your story. You've bounced around. You've had your ups and downs in life. Your mom's best friend at her funeral sings Wind Beneath My Wings. You're an eagle now, kid. And if you're struggling, just let the wings out. Let the wind carry you. And may the wind forever be beneath your wings. That hit me. Man, that hit me right there. And it was something I needed to hear. So what happens is about a week later, we go and we play the Redskins. And now we're in the locker room, I'm looking at my teammates. And you know, we got the country guy, Alan Barbary, right? He's got a dip in his mouth. He's not even spitting it out. He's just swallowing the dip spit. He's got his headphones, listening to some country. You know, we got the guys, they're dancing, listening to rap. You're doing whatever you have to do to get ready for a game. So sure enough, what do? I changed my routine. And I took a little bit of a soundbite from a song. And before I would go out to games, I would listen to it. And it would inspire me. It would make me remember the path that I was on, where I'm at, where I'm going. And I would hear those words, you are the wind beneath my wings. And I would hear those words. So why is this important? I decided to do a show called America's Got Talent. And I made it all the way to the finals. Now this blew me away. So I'm in training camp in Philadelphia, and I'm performing live in California for the finals of America's Got Talent. Now about 2 weeks before the finals, I was coming up with my routine, right? What am I gonna do? So my wife's sitting at the table with me, I'm sitting there, I'm shuffling cards, and what I decided to do is, I wanna do my ballad. See, if you remember season 16, which I'm sure you don't, it's okay. I'd been running around stage, and I'd done a bunch of wild things, but it was now time for me to sit down. See, look, I wanted to be a rock star. My whole life I wanted to be a rock star. I got 3 problems. I can't sing, I can't dance, and I can't play an instrument, so check that off the old box, right? But I realized that the cards were my guitar, and the words, they were my ballad. So look, I didn't see Stevie Ray or Eric Clapton or Jimi Hendrix. I saw Bill Malone, and that inspired me to be a card guy. So sure enough, I'm sitting at the table, I'm working this routine out, I rehearse it for my wife, and I stand up and I go, look, this isn't good enough. There's no way I'm gonna win. I mean, this ain't happening. As soon as I did that, a picture fell off a bookshelf behind me. Now I heard it, I didn't acknowledge it. So what does my wife do? She stands up, she says, honey, turn around. So I was, babe, I gotta focus here, right? She says, honey, turn around. And sure enough, I turned around. And in the moment I said, this trick isn't good enough, the picture that fell off the shelf was a picture of my mom and I. So I walk over to it, I look at it. My wife comes over, she kneels out, we're both looking at this picture. And she says to me, she goes, you know, I hear you talk about this guy Bill Malone all the time. How when you were lost in life, you had lost your parents and you got into magic, it gave you purpose, it gave you something to look forward to. It gave you a time that when you would sit and shuffle cards, the whole world just disappeared, right? It was the only time that you were a kid was the time you were shuffling. What if this show isn't about winning and losing? What if this opportunity for you is not about winning and losing? In fact, what if it's your turn to be Bill Malone? What if there's a kid at home or a parent or somebody that's going through something and this is your time to go on the world's greatest TV show and sing your ballad through a deck of cards and you might just change a life just like Bill changed yours? Whew. What if this is your time? So you know me, I'm a huge Matthew McConaughey fan, so I stood up and went, all right, all right, all right, all right. Now that really happened. And that is especially what you tell yourself when you lose to a 12-year-old with a ukulele.
The winner is Grace Vanderwaal!
Now don't feel bad for me, okay? Just shortly after that, they asked me back for America's Got Talent, the champions, right? The top 50 acts in all the world are gonna compete, and I made the finals there, and I am proud to stand before all of you to tell you I did not lose to a 12-year-old with a ukulele. Instead, I placed right behind that 14-year-old with a puppet. Killing it. So now here's what I want to do. I want to do a trick. Now this is a condensed version of what I did on the finals of America's Got Talent, and it's how magic saved my life. This is my ballad, and in my life journey, I've learned that if you want to really have happiness, if you really want to just do great things in this world, I think every one of us can hate a little less, every one of us can blame a little less, and every one of us can forgive just a little bit more. So I hope you like this. Now, as you can see, if a magician comes out with this little wood box and has his logo engraved and snaps that puppy open and dumps out a small stack of cards, I mean, let's be honest. If that doesn't scream trick deck, I don't know what does. Anyways, here's what I got. We're going to do a trick with the 4 queens. And I know you might have seen that blank card. We'll get to that later. Don't worry about it. But regardless, here they are. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Queen of spades, diamonds, clubs, and hearts. Now, I know you saw that, so here's the deal. It's not a trick deck, but some of these cards are blank. And the reason they're blank is because these cards don't matter. I just want you to keep an eye on the queens. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take 3 cards and put them over each queen, just like this. Just so you can see. 1, 2, 3. And queen number 1. 1, 2, 3. Queen number 2. 1, 2, 3. Right over there on queen number 4. And 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, 3. 1, 2, 3. Over the last queen. Now here's the deal. There's been times in my life where I've hated. And you know what I've learned? Is that the more I've hated, the more I've lost myself. Bit by bit, piece by piece. Gone. Just like that. May we not hate. Blame. Woo! Blame's a powerful thing. And there's a lot of times in my life where if it didn't happen for me, guess what? It was never my fault, right? It's everybody else's fault, so I would blame others. And what I learned is that if I wasn't accountable for my own actions, if I didn't look at myself in the mirror and be proud of who I was, well then you know what? I lost myself bit by bit, piece by piece, gone. Just like that. May we blame just a little bit less. Now, forgiveness. Forgiveness is a powerful thing. Forgiveness for me was the key to happiness. But for years and years and years, I didn't forgive anybody. In fact, I held grudges. So what did that do? It just made me lose a piece of my soul each and every day. I decided to do that. So you know what? Without forgiving, I was losing myself. Bit by bit, piece by piece, gone. May every one of us make the decision to not hate, not blame, and forgive just a little bit more. I truly believe it. May we not hate, may we not blame, and may we forgive just a little bit more. All right, so now put yourself in my shoes. I just get off America's Got Talent. I've actually got the record for the most consecutive games ever played as an Eagle with 162 straight. And as I go into the next season, what happens? The team comes to me and says they're going to trade me. Now, if you ask me, I was Mr. Eagle. I spent most of my career there, so I was shocked. But I remember therapy, and I remember the sooner we can come to terms with our reality, the sooner we can find the positive. So instead of being bitter and angry, because the reality is when somebody doesn't want you anymore, it's a total ego hit, right? But sometimes you got to step away and realize that sometimes life has a plan, and this isn't happening to me, this is happening for me. So sure enough, I embrace the change because I don't have any say in it anyway, so I'm going to find the positive. And what does the Philadelphia Eagles do? They trade me to the New Orleans Saints. So I go on down to New Orleans. So here's the deal, I'm 37 years old. I'm going to a team that plays in New Orleans in a dome, which means 13 of the 16 games are going to be indoors, which gets me out of the Northeast and the cold weather, which I'm digging. All black uniforms, slimming for an aging 37-year-old pudgy guy. You know, I'm digging it. And I signed a 3-year extension for millions, more money than I'd seen in my entire career, right? So I am jacked. All right, so I go to New Orleans. So now it's time for my entrance physical. No big deal. I go in, I do my physical, doctor puts a stethoscope. Then he takes a pause, and he looks at me, and he says, something's not sounding right. I'm going to go ahead and send you down to the hospital. We're going to get further tests. All right, yeah, no big deal. So I go, I get my echocardiogram. I go back to the facility. Why? Because I got to get ready for practice. As I'm getting ready for practice, my phone rings. So I see it's a Louisiana phone number. I pick it up, and I go, hello. Hey, John, what's going on? This is the cardiologist and the surgeon here at the hospital. Do you got a second? I mean, I guess so. What's going on? We got your results back, and it's not what we thought. We don't know how to tell you this, but you're never playing football ever again, and you're probably going to be in emergency open heart surgery in the next 48 hours. So here's what we want you to do. Sit down. Try not to laugh. Don't drink caffeine. Try not to cough. Don't do anything, basically. Don't lift anything over 5 pounds. Sit tight. We're on our way. And I just went, whoa. So I remember I took my helmet off, and I put it in my locker. And all of a sudden, I saw the locker room in the reflection of the helmet like it was a movie. And I got bitter and I got angry. because I'd worked my entire career for this moment, right? I'm going into my 15th season in the NFL. Like I said, I signed a huge extension. It was a new city. I had to reprove myself. The team was excited to have me. My wife and I were just looking at getting this nice place downtown. Life was rolling. But here we go. This is the moment Coach Haye talked about, when all of a sudden you're face down in the mud, right? The difference is the decision we make in that moment. Are we going to live in vision, or are we going to live in circumstance? And then I remember that when I was 14 and I lost my necklace, and I remember that the story I tell myself is going to change everything for me in this moment. So when I turned back around, all of a sudden Drew Brees walked by me. Drew Brees is the quarterback for the Saints. And I saw the name Brees, and I actually kind of chuckled. In a moment where I was bitter and angry that my career was ending due to this condition, I chuckled. I sat down, and I just watched Drew walk out. And then the story came to me. I looked up in the sky. I said, Mom, I get it. I had the wind beneath my wings for a long time. I thought of my man Joe Santoliquito in the tunnel of the Eagles, right? Telling me that my mom's best friend sang Wind Beneath My Wings. And there it was. I had the wind beneath my wings for a long, long time, 11 years. My mom traded me to the New Orleans Saints. The Saints. I was traded to the Saints to have my life saved by a Saint. And guess what? My mom was telling me, hey, it's time to step out of the wind and catch a breeze, honey. And Drew Brees was my breeze. So that's the story I told myself. It was time for me to step out of the wind and catch a breeze and have my life saved by a Saint. So a lot of people ask me what I had. I had a valve issue, but really the emergency surgery part of it was that I had a 6-centimeter aneurysm in my ascending aorta. And if you check out this diagram, it's basically the heart pumps, right? And the vein that leaves the heart should be about the size of a nickel. Well, mine had grown and started blowing up, and it was the size of a soda can. If that thing pops, it's lights out. So now I am proud to say that I'm a proud member of the Zipper Club. The surgery was supposed to be 4 hours, and it ended up being 12. And let me tell you this, my wife is my heart, my wife is my soul. If I didn't leave that hospital room, she didn't leave. I was in the hospital 30 days post-surgery. We had some white blood cell issues and some other complications. But I'll tell you, man, surround yourself, right? May we all surround ourselves with people that just lift us up, with people that inspire us, with people that make us better. And may every one of us do that for one another. Be better. Be better than we were yesterday. Be better for yourself and be better for everyone around you. So now a little time passes. I have my open heart surgery. I'm recovering. My life is shifting. And here's the moment, right? My wife gets pregnant. And I remember I had my hands on her belly. And I said, you know what, babe? There's 3 words I've never said out loud. I've never said, I forgive you out loud. And she just looked at me and goes, whoa. And I looked at her and I said, I think it's time that I go see my dad. Now at this time, I hadn't seen my dad in 27 years. And I'd thought about it and I'd wanted to for curiosity, but really there was nothing in my life that stemmed me to take action. And now all of a sudden, here I am with my hand on my wife's belly and I'm thinking about me being a dad. And all these emotions and feelings came back. And now was the time. Now, I didn't tell anybody except my wife because for the first time, I didn't care what anybody else thought. Not only that, but whether you agreed or disagreed, I didn't want any of your thoughts, anybody else's opinions in my head because I was going there for myself. And I also had to redefine what forgiveness means because a lot of people are going, John, this is crazy. I don't see how you can forgive anybody for doing that. Well, I finally realized that for me, forgiveness was coming to terms with my reality. For me, forgiveness was me taking the final step to find motivation in defeat. For me, forgiveness was me saying, you know what, I have a name on my back and it means something, and I'm gonna be better than where I came from no matter what. Every one of us make the decision, no matter where you come from, no matter how good, no matter how bad, let's wake up every single day to be better for the people around us. And you know what? I wanted to sit across from my dad. I wanted to feel everything about my childhood, the anger, the resentment, the father-son relationship, what could have been and what should have been. And I wanted to harness all that emotion. I learned this, resilient people, they take emotion and like I said, they find motivation within it. It inspires them to be better. They don't use it for vengeance. They don't get angry and use it to retaliate. Instead, they harness it and they realize they don't want the world to feel this, so they got to do something to make the world better. That's what resilient people do, and they keep standing up. So sure enough, I flew to go see my dad for the first time in 27 years. And we went to lunch and we sat across from each other for 5.5 hours. And at the end of it, I stood up and I looked at him. And I said, Dad, I forgive you for being lost, and I forgive you for making a mistake, both of which I've made many. And I said, I gotta go. And I walked out. That was by far one of the most intense conversations I've ever had. But the reason I did it was to be better. The reason I did it is because now I realize that I have an opportunity to be the dad I never had. That's the decision I'm gonna make every single day. That's the decision that all of you are gonna make. Why? Because we will be better. We will come to terms with our reality, and we will forgive just a little bit more. So when I forgave my dad, it's crazy, because when the plane landed, I thought of my therapist. And I thought about, oh my gosh, I'm going to see my dad for reasons other than wanting to know what happened. After leaving my dad, my wife gave birth to our little girl, and we named her Amaya Love Dorenbos. And when she came out, I looked at her and I held her and I said, you know what, honey? You will forever be able to have lunch with your daddy. Because I wasn't able to my whole childhood with my dad. Now that right there, it means more than just what it is. It means I will forever be there for you. I will forever be everything that you've ever dreamed of. And instead of being resentful, I'm gonna live the father-child relationship through your eyes and through my eyes and be everything I never had. May every one of us remember where we started in this world, and may every one of us thrive to be better than we came from, no matter how good or how bad you had it. Be better. I got to give a huge shout out to the sponsors tonight, American Heritage Credit Union and Giant Food Stores. Thank you for making tonight possible. You all are total rock stars. And I wanted to teach everybody a trick. Not only that, but I wanted to teach everybody a trick that I think is so awesome that I actually did this on national television. I did this on the show Ellen when my wife and I did our gender reveal to tell everybody that we're having a daughter. So if you Google Jon Dorenbos gender reveal Ellen, you'll be able to see me do this on television. We are gonna teach this trick to you because this is what tonight was all about. It was about us, right? Helping people, taking the problems of the world and making them better. I love everybody for this, so guess what? May we all continue to do that. Wake up every single day and inspire one another to be better and to make this world whole and to make this world an amazing place, the amazing place that it is. Get a piece of paper, get your phone, I don't care, one or the other, and you're gonna text this number. You're gonna text 44321, and you're gonna text KNHMAGIC. One more time, text KNHMAGIC to 44321, and you're gonna make a one-time donation to the Kids in Hope Foundation. Once that donation is received, they will send you an exclusive link of me teaching you how to do that torn and restored napkin, not just how to perform it, but how to perform it and be cool. Thank you again. My name's Jon Dorenbos. You guys are all total rock stars. Till next time, peace out. Thank you again. My name's Jon Dorenbos. You guys are all total rock stars. Till next time, peace out.
All right, Frank, we ready? All right. Well, thank you very much, John, for getting this magic show together for us and for helping us as we support the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, as well as Salus University's looking out for kids and our very own Kids in Hope Foundation. So thank you very much. For all the kids that are out there watching tonight, the questions that came up, John, one was, what was your first magic trick?
Okay, I love this. Okay, the very first one that was done to me, I was 12 years old, 13 years old, staying with a coach from Little League. He had a neighbor across the street named Michael Groves. He took a red sponge ball, put it in my hand, bam. Then he made another sponge ball disappear. And then when I opened my hand, I had both his and mine. So basically his ball jumped into my hand. I said, no way. He goes, do it again. So now I'm holding both. He takes another ball. He makes it disappear. I open my hand. I had like 4. He's like, do it again. So then I hold those. And then I open my hand. I had like 10. And then just sponge balls were going everywhere. So it was the classic sponge ball trick was the first one that I ever saw.
Okay. Well, that's a great one. I haven't seen you do that one tonight. But hopefully when we send the video to the kids, they'll be able to see how to take that napkin and put it back together again. And we're going to make sure that everyone who's watching tonight get the video. So then when they get back to school, they'll be able to work with their friends on
That's right.
showing them a magic trick. The most asked question tonight. We're just going to get this out of the way. Everybody know that you played for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the most asked question is, Wentz or Hurt?
Look, I'm a fan of both. I mean, you guys are putting me on the spot. I say bring back Dorenbos.
All right. Well, we'll let that be. You sound just like all the commentators. Just let it be. And so being that we are Kids in Hope Foundation, and we work with the kids at CHOP and music therapy and doing many things to support the children there, we have a little friend, Charo, who's just saying hello to you. And he wants to show you some love and just let you know that he's watching the show tonight as well. And also all of the others who are at CHOP. And so that's why we're going to send them that magic trick so they'll have something to practice and something to do when they get back to school. So a shout out to you from Charo.
Love it.
So one of the other questions that came across was your favorite magic trick. So you were on America's Got Talent, and with that, they have many cameras, and I'm sure, you're in production for many, many hours. Can you just tell us about how that was? Because really, everybody in the Philadelphia region know you from being the long snapper of the Eagles, but now you became to get across the nation in regards to knowing who Jon Dorenbos from your relationship on America's Got Talent. How did that come about, and how does that work?
Yeah. So you start filming the show in the off season. So I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. So it was March, right? I went and I auditioned, and my goal was just to promote my career. If I can get Simon to like me, let's just do this. And then whatever, I either get voted off or I opt out and I go to training camp. Well, I got through the first round. I was like, okay, we're still not in training camp. It's like April. And then we filmed the second round, which that was going to be the round I was going to opt out or get voted off, because I knew that the following rounds were going to be done during training camp. So I get the gold buzzer. So now there's confetti everywhere. If you actually Google the link, it's funny. I turn around and I walk to the back of the stage and I do this, because in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, the Eagles don't even know I'm doing this. I got to go to training camp. I don't even know what I'm going to do right now. So lo and behold, the Eagles found out, and Mr. Lurie and the organization was like, hey, we just want to support you. So what a lot of people don't realize is I was in training camp and in LA simultaneously. So I didn't miss a meeting. I didn't miss a practice. I missed a couple rehearsals. And so what I would do is I'd get to training camp and be ready at 8 a.m. My training camp that day would go till 5. At 5, I got in a car and I rushed to the airport, and I got usually on a 6:15 flight, on an American flight to LA. I would land and I have about 2 hours to either do an interview, B-roll, a rehearsal, a camera block, to get on the 10:15 red eye back to Philly to land at 7:15 to get to my 8 o'clock meeting. So I was doing that back and forth. So it's not that I had a ton of time to prep because I was in training camp, but it was definitely one of the most exciting times of my life. I did some new things. I did a trick where I snapped a big football on a map, and I love that. People ask me, what's your favorite trick? It's not so much the trick. See, when I was a kid and I got into magic, it was an escape for me. And so to me, it's the feeling, it's the atmosphere, it's the environment that you create within whatever it is. It could be music, you could be a rock star, it could be art, it doesn't matter. So when I perform and I sit at a table, or if I do magic, if I can take that room and we can all forget about our problems or the things that we're dealing with and do nothing more than just create a room of hope and fun, that right there, that's the best trick in the world. That's what I love about it.
Good. I enjoyed your show, and we had a lot of participants on tonight following you. And one of the questions is, with 2020, with COVID and, people having to isolate and those things, and you have a great way of doing storytelling with your magic show. What is one of the lessons that you can give for the kids for this year, for 2020?
Never lose hope. I don't care what's going on in life. Here's what I've learned. Every one of us are in different situations. Every one of us have different obstacles that we're trying to overcome. But that's the thing that we can relate to. So don't become a victim. Try not to let your mind veer that life's ganging up on you. Instead, just realize, hey, this is my path, and I'm going to figure it out. And I'm not. The other thing, too, is you're not alone. There's other kids and there's other people that are in the same similar struggles. So just remember, you're not alone. There's people there that want to help you. There's people there that want to make your life better. There's people there that want to see you succeed. So how do we do that? Right here. We never lose hope, and we realize that we're not going to be a victim in this world. Instead, we're just going to say, hey, life happens. It happens. and we're going to do the best we can to live a great life and leave a legacy that people will remember us. And may every one of us be a teammate that this world would hate to lose and every opponent fears. And I'm going to rock my life as long as I'm alive. And as long as I'm keep on keeping on, man, I'm going to enjoy it.
Great. Speaking of, being a teammate, the question came up, who's your greatest teammate?
Man. Oh, this is such a hard one. I got to play with so many great players. Now, this is probably before a lot of the kids' times, but I got as a kid. Donnie Jones was a punter. I got to play with LaShawn McCoy. I got to play with like Brian Westbrook. I got to play with, here's one for the Philly crowd. I got to play with a guy named Brian Dawkins, which, to be in a room with Brian Dawkins was unbelievable. Do I have time for a quick Brian Dawkins story? Because I think this is great.
Sure.
So I'm running out to pregame. So what would happen is I would go out to pregame, okay? And then the punters and kickers, we would do our thing before the rest of the team. And then as I come in, usually Brian Dawkins was going out to the field, right? Because now the kicking's done, the field's going to open up for the real athletes. And so as I'm going in, Dawkins is coming out. He kind of like jumps on me because he was all hyped up. And meanwhile, I learned that he was like covered in Vaseline. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know what's going on right now. But as a long snapper and somebody that would snap and throw the ball, the last thing you want is your hands to be real slippery, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm covered in. So I run in, the water's beating off and I can't wash it off my hands. They give me a new uniform. Game's over. I'm sitting next to Brian. He's taking his tape off. And I said, Brian, wow, a lot of Vaseline. Is that so when you're running and they're trying to block you, is that so like the guys like slip off you? Made perfect sense to me, right? On that, dude, it's so funny. Brian just looked up at me while he's taking his tape off. He goes, no, bro, Vaseline makes my muscles look bigger in the lights. And he just went back to it. I was like, that's my problem. I need to put Vaseline on my muscles so I look as big as you. Clearly, that's the only difference.
With having a 14-year NFL career and also doing Magic, some of the participants tonight want to know, which do you like best?
Magic or football?
Yes.
In my 20s and my early 30s, I used to love football. I love the contact. I love the energy. I love everything about it. Now that I'm 40 and not getting hit anymore, I enjoy that too, which is Magic, right? I'm going to say this, both of them. And, here's another cool thing that I sat next to this guy at a dinner and he was like, hey, I think it's really cool that you found something completely separate. And he goes, what I mean by that is I work with a lot of athletes. And what happens is when they're done playing, they can't get that adrenaline rush. They can't get that rush and that high that the game gives them. And they can't get that elsewhere in life. And the guy looked at me and he goes, that's really sad. It's unfair to you. It's unfair to your family. It's unfair to your friends. Right. And so for me, I'm able to get that. And that's something else, right? We go through life and sometimes things end, sometimes things start, but no matter how exciting a part of our life is, when it comes to an end, we can recreate that excitement in these other places of life. It might be different, but don't sell yourself short. And so get excited about life, get excited about opportunity, about challenge. And so for me, here's my answer right here. Football, Magic, both kind of nourish different parts of my soul. And I'm so thankful I had both.
Good. Couple more questions we have. One is in regards to doing your magic tricks. And how long does it take to perfect them?
A while. So like, I don't even know if you're gonna be able to see this, but like you can reach out, right? And it can look like you can just reach in and just grab cards out of the air. Like whenever you need them, you're just grabbing them out, right? Like that took forever. And I'll show people how I'm doing it. It's not, people think it's on the back, but it's actually when you shake that we can actually pull them out of the inside, right? And I'll show people how to do this. This is so cool. It's called a back palm. And so what happens is you put a bunch of cards here and then you go like this. You're like, well, that doesn't look very good. I can see them. But if I pull a card out and now it stops right there, right? Now this card is now blocking that little piece right there. So now I can do that. And now all I got to do is just pull one at a time, just like this. And as long as I can pull one at a time, now this is hard, right? Your hand starts cramping, your pinky starts hurting. And then all of a sudden you can put like 30 back there. And now all of a sudden you're just pulling cards one at a time. And now from the front, it looks like this, right? So boom, now you stop. Now, as soon as I let this go, my hand's going to move because I'm going to cover that right there. So now it looks like you're just grabbing cards. That took years and years and years. And then there's two parts of magic, right? Learning the move and then getting the confidence to be able to do it in front of people and not get caught. So you have to train both. So look, sometimes it might take a few weeks. Sometimes it might take years. Like for me to be able to do this, let me see if I can do this. Just like shoot a card up and then catch it. I don't know if you could see that, but it kind of comes off the top, it reverses, or the middle, and to catch it every single time. This right here took 25 years. And, we'll sit here all day. I love that. But that dexterity is, the dexterity for me is less about mastering the trick as much as it is overcoming how difficult something is and just getting obsessed with just finding perfection. I like that.
Good. That you've seen.
I'm a huge fan of pickpocketing. So pickpocketing in the form of entertainment, like you get one of the Apollo Robbins is like my favorite. Google Apollo, Apollo Robbins, Robbins, magician pickpocket. And so he brings people on stage and he literally says, okay, I'm going to have your wallet, your watch. I'll have your credit card in his back pocket. I'm going to and it's all going to happen in 5 minutes. Go. And he does all of it. I'm going to take your necktie. I'll take your belt off. So I'm fascinated with the art of pickpocketing in the form of entertainment. I can watch that stuff all day. I just think it's phenomenal.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So in regards to the kids who may be interested in learning, magic as a pastime or as a hobby or maybe a career, what type of advice would you give to them?
Today, it's much more accessible. And when I was first getting into magic, it was all books. Reading comprehension for me is really difficult, always has been. And I'm left-handed. And a lot of the books were written for right-handed magicians. So the complexity of like left forefinger, rotate 35 degrees, left hand. And to learn magic in a book was hard. And then every time I saw the word right, I'd have to say left. Every time I saw the word left, right. So now they actually have like DVD downloads. And it's like they totally like we saw at the end there a little clip of me kind of doing the instructional of the napkin. They show you all the different angles. They show you the placement of where your hand is. Guys like Bill Malone are the people that I give tribute in my show. He does great instructional stuff, great card tricks that you can actually do. So, I mean, go on the internet, right? And just go to YouTube. And there's so much stuff online that you can learn.
Okay, good. Well, Jon, I just want to thank you for your partnering with us to bring this magic show tonight, the storytelling, and to really be inspired by you, as so many have indicated tonight. I want to thank our sponsors, American Heritage Credit Union and Giant Food Stores. And then also all of the proceeds tonight would benefit our Kids and Hope Foundation, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, as well as Salus University Looking Out for Kids program. And so we look forward to next time you're in Philadelphia, stopping by and seeing us. And hopefully once this pandemic is over, we can do some magic live and, make that happen.
I'm all for it. And I know that this has been a tough year for a lot of people. So all those that participated tonight, like he said, the American Heritage Credit Union, Giant Food Stores, to benefit the Kids and Hope, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and the Looking Out for Kids with Salus Universities, to take your time out, your resources, any way that you were able to help. Everybody appreciates it. The kid appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. I hope that it was a fun break for everybody this evening. I love the Philadelphia community. I love everything about everybody over there. So thank you for allowing me to still have roots there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on behalf of the Kids and Hope Foundation, our board of directors, we'd like to wish everyone a happy holidays and a happy new year, and peace and blessings to all. Thank you all very much and have a great night.